You should be able to highlight whether this is going to be something you need to work on, because instinctively, but it would still be in the same sort of order in terms of rotation. So today, I'm going to help you fix one of the most common downswing impact follow-through faults that we see, that really horrible cramped chicken winging look. So with this position that you see here reminds you of your golf swing, if you videoed your swing and it looks like this, well, the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to help you fix it. And we're going to do that in 3 very simple stages. And all you're going to need to help fix that is a tee, a ball, and a golf club. So let's get started with stage number 1. So for stage number 1, I've got my golf ball teed up. I'm going to take the other tee, so you do need 2 tees for this, and I'm going to pop it just into the end of my grip. So there should be a little hole in the end of the handle. Pop the tee peg in there. It just gives us a nice reference point as we go through that. So when we're looking at fixing this problem, and you know, so many golfers do struggle with this kind of horrible feeling and look through impact. It's all to do with how we use the lead arm, how we rotate it, and how we support that movement with the body, and that's what we're going to work through in these stages. So phase number 1 is you're going to hold that golf club in your lead hand. So for me, that's my left hand. Trail hands are going to go behind my back, and I'm going to set myself up pretty much to that golf ball, maybe just inside. Now the idea with this first stage is very simply not a huge amount of body rotation, but we're just going to get the tee to point down towards the ball. In that area is fine, doesn't have to be precise. And then on the other side, the same thing happens. So you can see how the tee points down towards the ball. Now for me to do that, notice what's happened in my lead arm. It's folded. What that means is you can see I've got some bend in my arm, but the back of my elbow is pointing down towards the ground. My thumb is pointing up, the club shaft is pointing up, and the tee is pointing down. For those of you who have videoed your golfing, you've seen that sort of really horrible look post impact. That won't be the case. Your lead arm will be something like this, where you can see how either the arm is straight and the elbow points behind me, or maybe you've got the opposite, kind of where the arm is bent, but again the elbow still points behind me. You can see where the tee is, and you can see where the club head is. Very, very different to what we see here. And those differences are very simply me just changing my rotations in my lead arm. So phase 1 is just to make those little movements, tee to ball, and just start to get comfortable with that fairly, hopefully, what looks like a simple movement. It won't be simple for many of you, but it's tee to ball, simple little exercise. Now, within a first couple of swings of that, you should be able to highlight whether this is going to be something you need to work on, because instinctively, you might just set yourself up there and you might go tee to ball, and you might do something like this. If that's your instinctive move, if that's what you feel comfortable doing, that's what should set those alarm bells ringing in your head saying this is something you need to work on. And this phase 1, you know, may take you a couple of swings until you actually feel really comfortable doing that. But this is fantastic exercise, and I've got a super light grip pressure. You can see I can almost hold that golf club in just thumb and index finger. I can still get that same movement happening. So once you're comfortable with that, we can then move on to stage number 2. So for stage number 2, we're very simply going to add the trail hand and bring in the golf ball. So my trail hand goes on, and this time we're going to do the same little movement, but we're going to let the golf ball get in the way, which we'll do in a moment. But effectively, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going tee to ball. I might want to start and add just a little bit of rotation here. So you might just see a little movement to the legs, a little bit movement to the chest, certainly nowhere near a full rotation. And then on the way through, again, it's tee to ball, but we might support that movement with a little bit of rotation. But effectively, we're still looking for that lead arm to behave in the same way through the golf ball. The key, and this is, I can't stress enough, in this phase 2, grip pressure, tension is key. We have to keep that nice and low. That club head, the weight of that club head is more down this end. We know, we've talked about this before, balance point of the club is down here. We've got to utilize that. We've got to make the most of that. You're holding this end, but you want to be sensing and feeling this end. So as I'm doing these little exercises, I'm just effectively letting that club swing around my body. Like I said before, I could hold that in literally index finger and thumb, and I can still have the same movement. All I'm doing is I'm letting that weight of that club swing around my body, and I'm just starting to support that with a little bit of rotation. Done correctly, this ball should only go 30 to 40 yards, but we should still have the same reference points at the end. Tee to ball, 30 to 40 yards. There's my end position, lead arm is folded, tee is down at the ball. That is phase 2. Once you can master that, we can move on to phase number 3. So some of you may well be thinking, okay, Chris, great, I've done phase 1, phase number 2 is done. I don't see any tour pros doing this. I don't see any elite golfers going through the ball where the club head is flicking past the hands like this and they're starting to achieve this on their follow through position. And you'd be right. And there's one reason why we don't see that. It's because they've got huge amounts of speed and huge amounts of rotation through the golf ball. That's the biggest difference. If we look at how an elite player's lead arm works, it's exactly as we've just demonstrated in this video, but it will be more extended. So what we've been asking you to do so far is really move through to here. If we were to look at what we'd see from a tour player, the lead arm would be in that position, but they would have more rotation and the arm would be further away from their body. But it would still be in the same sort of order in terms of rotation. It certainly wouldn't be anything like this. Now in terms of that recocking of that wrist and where that tee points, yes, you're going to get a little bit of variation there. Someone like Bryson tends to rehinge that a little later, someone like Rory tends to be a little earlier, but effectively they all do that same movement with that lead arm. So if I was to try this movement, but adding lots of speed, we would see something that looks a little different. You can see I've got more body turn. My arm is a little bit more extended, but my tee still points down towards the ground. It's that movement which puts energy and speed into the golf club. If I asked you which club has got the most speed, this club or this club? Well, clearly it's this one because that club head is moving much freer through the impact area. It's also aiding and helping me re-rotate the face on the downswing. So it's going to help you hit straighter shots, because those of you who have that funny lead arm position are going to find that many of your shots do head out to the right and are often much, much weaker. So phase number 3 is very simply phase number 2 with more rotation and more speed. Okay, there's my end position. Lead arm is still elbow down, a little bit of flex. Tee points down at the ground, but I matched that with more speed, I matched that with more rotation, and if I added even more speed, I'd find myself in this much fuller position at the end. So if you struggle with impact, many of you will do, you'll have seen your swing on camera, if you struggle with the follow through, it feels uncomfortable, these 3 stages are brilliant. They're going to teach you how to get the weight of the club swinging around your body, brilliant for consistency. It's going to teach you how to fold that lead arm, brilliant for club face rotation. And it's going to help you ultimately hit better shots with more distance as well. You just need to work through those phases. Don't try and push it too quick too soon. Go through those phases and I guarantee you'll see some much better results on the course. And like I said, you should be able to do that because all you need is a tee, a ball and a golf club. Thanks for watching. Really hope that helps and hope to see you back here again soon.